for which it stands, one nation, under God,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. Next item, please.
Invocation.
Good morning, everyone. I am so happy to have our invocator in the chambers with us. He is Pastor Quintez Presley. He has spent most of his life serving others, and I'm so happy that he is now the pastor of Third New Hope Baptist Church in Detroit, which had the great legacy of having Pastor Branch serve as 40 years as the pastor. But Pastor Q, as he's affectionately known, came in 2020, January 1st, 2020. He didn't know he was coming into a pandemic, but he has led that church and led the community with grace, with style, and always praising the Lord. He's a proud member of the Omega Psi Phi fraternity, which is my brother fraternity. He graduated from Morehouse College with a Bachelor of Arts degree in religion and earned his Master's of Divinity degree from Union Theological Seminary in the city of New York in Christian social ethics. Again, in January 2020, he began his tenure as lead pastor of Third New Hope Baptist Church. Married to his beautiful wife, a health advocate and entrepreneur, Asha Mixon Presley, Reverend Presley has embraced as his life's motto Colossians 3:23 through 24, which says, "Whatever you do, work at it with all of your heart, as though you were working for the Lord and not for the people, knowing that you will receive the reward of an inheritance from the Lord. You serve the Lord Christ." With that, I'd like to bring to you Pastor Q.
Let us enter our hearts for a word of prayer. God, we pause with gratefulness for your presence and the great gift of life. We're humbled by your faith and your confidence in us as you give us the privilege to partner with you as stewards of this world. We repent for any time we have failed to take seriously our assignment to care for others, and any time that we've worked against the sacredness of community. Today, as we approach the business of the agenda, we ask that you will endow us with your wisdom, your guidance, your compassion, and your grace. We pray that all of our discussions, our decisions, and our deliberations are aligned with your divine will for our lives, for our community, and for this county. As you has taught us to pray, let your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. We surrender this time to you now, asking that you will get the glory. In the name of all that is good and all that is great and all that is beautiful and all that is kind. In your many names we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor Q. Next item, Madam Clerk.
Reading, correcting, and approval of the journal.
Vice Chair Pro Tem Baydoun.
Move for approval.
Their support? Moved and supported. Any discussion on the journal? Hearing none, please vote. Commissioner Marecki? Thank you.
Motion carries.
Thank you so much. Next item, please.
Report from the chair.
I'll keep my marks for later on the agenda. Next item, please.
Unfinished business, there is none listed. We are moving to offering of all petitions, ordinances, resolutions, and presentations. We have 2 resolutions listed. Resolution number 1 is a resolution by Commissioner Basham urging the Michigan Senate to approve House Bills 4277, 4278, and 4279 to better increase the safety of Michigan's roads.
Commissioner Basham?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Actually, it's like that is one of the primary things that I'm involved in and seeing what's happening. It's not just people getting shot with guns, it's people getting killed as a result of texting and driving, holding a phone while they're driving. We got an issue here that is a bipartisan issue. It's not a Republican issue. It's not a Democratic issue. It's an issue that, I see people crossing the lines all the time. I know you see it yourselves. People that don't know when to take off, when a green light turns green at the intersection, those sorts of things. This is something that distracted driving, there's some enforcement, but it's not the kind we need. We need something specific to the bill that's in the State House that we need support from the Michigan legislature to finally say, like we've done with seat belts, like we've done with booster seats, baby seats, and emergency vehicles. We need enforcement. We need to make the public aware that there's going to be enforcement, because this is not about collecting revenue. This is about public safety first. And so if you care about people, and a lot of people say that we care about people, then let's show it and support this resolution. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. Is there support? It's been moved and supported. Further discussion on the resolution? And what I'll just add to is that a while ago, they used to have texting commercials about do not text and drive, but that kind of faded away. So we need to probably invest in a whole education piece, as you stated, and invest in PSAs on texting, distraction, and all of that. So thank you for bringing this forward, and hopefully the bills will pass the House and the Senate. Hearing no further discussion, please vote.
Motion carries.
Thank you so much. Commissioner Kenlock? Co-sponsors? Yes. If it's okay, you would like to open up the board for co-sponsors? Is your request, Commissioner Kenlock? Okay, thank you. Is that okay for the maker of the motion? Okay. Board is now open for co-sponsors. Madam Clerk, let us know when you're ready. Ready? Okay, the board is now open for co-sponsors.
Co-sponsors duly noted.
Thank you so much. Next item, please.
We are on resolution number 2, a resolution by Commissioner Bell reaffirming the commission's commitment in supporting women throughout society and recognizing March as Women's History Month and March 8th, 2022 as International Women's Day, as their successes strengthen our families, our economy, and the nation as a whole.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. As many of you know, women of every race, class, and ethnicity, as well as age, continue to make historic contributions to the growth and development of Wayne County and Michigan. I think we are blessed to have 3 women holding the highest state offices in our state, that of Governor, Attorney General, and Secretary of State, as well as U.S. Senator. We also have 6 of the state's 14 House reps are women. The theme for this year is Women Providing Healing, Promoting Hope, and both tribute to the success or to the ceaseless work of caregivers and frontline workers during the ongoing pandemic. We know that women have been on the front line as it comes to caretakers for their children, caretakers for their parents, and then also working in the medical field as nurses, doctors. Women have been on the forefront. So the theme of providing healing and promoting hope is very appropriate for this year's theme. Wayne County in 2021 established a Women's Commission, a diverse group of 19 women throughout the county that advises and makes recommendations to this commission on issues vitally important to women. So this year, I'm proud to again bring forth this resolution acknowledging March as Women's History Month. Is there a motion? Okay, I'll move it. Moved and supported. Any discussion on the resolution? Hearing none, please vote.
Carries.
Thank you. I'd like to open up the board for co-sponsors, please. Let us know when you're ready.
I'll open for co-sponsors. Co-sponsors duly noted.
Thank you so much. Next item, please.
We are moving to reports from committees. We are on Report A from the Committee on Public Services. There are 8 items listed on pages 2 through 4 of the agenda.
Commissioner Marecki?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move to receive and file items number 7 and 8 and move for approval items 1 through 6.
Moved and supported.
Madam Chair? Can
Yes.
I briefly go through the agenda?
Absolutely.
Okay. The first item is with the city of Taylor. This is using the Act 51 monies, road improvements along E-Course Road from Party Road to Monroe Boulevard. The Taylor City Council approved this in December. The second one is with Waterfront Petroleum Terminal Company. This is a contract for $8 million to supply gasoline and diesel fuel to various locations as needed in the county. The next one is Sampson. This was bid through Sourcewell, which is our public procurement unit, to provide light, medium, and heavy truck, car, and truck GPS units. These GPS units will help the supervisors know where the trucks are on the road, and they'll be able to efficiently more direct them to somewhere else they may need to go. And it'll just make it more effective at DPS, at the road yards. Number 4 is a contract with Action Traffic Maintenance. And this is to furnish guardrails and beams and parts and accessories as needed. 5 is, I'm not sure how to pronounce this. I think it's Coke Hospitality. This is exercising an option to renew to continue the concession responsibilities in Elizabeth Park. This doesn't cost the county anything, but we actually receive 12% of the sales of the concession. That usually is about $15,000 to $20,000 a year. The next item is the Alfred Benish Company. This is to amend the scope of services to design the reconstruction of the Southfield Bridge over the E-Course Creek. So this is for a bit of additional funding to amend that scope. The next 2 items, 7 and 8, are emergency procurements for the medical examiner's office. The first one to repair 2 boilers. The second one is to, the VPD had gone out because of flooding. So this was to control that. So those are the 2 receiving files since they were emergency procurements and they come to us after the fact. So if anybody has any questions.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Basham. Then Commissioner Anderson.
Did? I thought I did.
There it goes.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. Can I be the maker of item number 1? It would be nice. And while I'm at it, have the mic. I was wondering on item number 5. I know it doesn't cost the county any money, but I notice when I like items to be bid out, and they're the sole source. Anyway, I in the future, if they can make sure they can bid this out, if they're the only one that responds, I'm fine with it. But anyway, Chair wanted to comment on that one, but thank you.
Yeah, this was an exercise to renew the option, and they will be bidding this out eventually after this is done.
That helps. Thank you very much.
Yep.
Commissioner Anderson?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I just wondered if there's anyone from DPS or that department that would be able to answer a question. On item 4, it looks like this is a contract to provide guardrail beams and parts and accessories. And I'm just curious about, are we switching over to the new type of guardrail where it's a safer guardrail on the end of those guardrails? Because there was quite a bit of controversy about the old one. If you remember driving down the road and seeing a guardrail, they started switching to these square that was that anyone that hits it is more likely to have a death or a very serious injury. And a lot of, I'm not sure if MDOT has switched to that yet, but there's a lot of states that now are going to, and counties that are going to the safer model. And I just wonder if there's someone from the department that could answer that, engineering or whoever.
Is there any from DPS who can answer that question?
Commissioner, this is Bill Bantam, a contract consultant for DPS Roads. We have not switched over yet. We are following the MDOT guidelines and the federal highway guidelines as to what we can put in certain places. So Until the federal guidelines change or the MDOT guidelines change, we have to follow what's currently in place.
So does, just to follow up, Mr. Bannum, does the state notify us, MDOT, when there is a change, or do we have to
That is
seek that out?
That is correct. The state will notify us when there's a change.
Okay, because if you don't mind checking into it, I'd appreciate it, because it is, I understand a number of deaths that they've hit that end of the guardrail, and the impact on a vehicle is much more dangerous for the driver of that car. So, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Yes, sir. I'll follow up and I'll follow up with you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any additional questions on the public services report? Hearing none, please vote.
Motion carries, and Commissioner Basham requested to be the maker of the motion on item number 1.
Next item, please.
Here on report D from the Committee on Ways and Means, there are 10 items listed on pages 4 through 6 of the agenda.
Commissioner Varga?
Chair, I move approval of the recommendation from Ways and Means on all the items from 1 through 10. If it is just reallocation, actually, they're all reallocation of funds, a couple of grants, and we did have some expenditure from Veteran Services for coronavirus materials and such. And we do have the grants for the computer's office for test kits, DNA testing that is going to be done. Most of it is just smaller budget adjustments, but I wanted to bring you aware that
Speaking to the mic, Commissioner, closer
fund
to.
number 299. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions on Ways and Means report? Could someone from the administration expound on item number 8? That's the 950,000 for workforce development. If you're on Zoom, anyone from economic development, I don't know if that would be Khalil or
Hi, good morning. Luz Meza with Economic Development.
you. Number 8 is the 950,000 in COVID-19 funds to help with economic development. Can you kind of speak to how those funds are going to be utilized?
This is a grant that we are working on with the MEDC and their Michigan Strategic Fund. The contracts are still in progress and being looked at by our council, but it would be an allocation for workforce development to support specific targeted workforce activities within Wayne County.
These are grants that small businesses can apply for?
This is going to be a grant that's going to be passed on to workforce development organizations for providing services to Wayne County residents to support workforce activities and upskill.
Thank you. Any additional questions on the Ways and Means report? Hearing none, please vote.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next item.
We're moving to report C from the Committee on Health and Human Services. There are 2 items listed on pages 6 and 7 of the agenda.
Colleen?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Two items being recommended out of Health and Human Services. Number one is the contract for what we used to call the JAC, that most of my colleagues know it as. It's now Assured Family Services. They do the intake for juveniles into county services and do the evaluations. And they've been doing that a long time for us. And then the second is just a recommendation on a reappointments to the Substance Use Disorder Board over at the Detroit Wayne Integrated Health Network. And I believe these are reappointments. I know Mr. Fielder was there, and I believe Mr. Taylor has been there as well. So these would be reappointments to the Substance Use Disorder Board over at the Mental Health. That board controls expenditures of about $5 million that comes from the state of Michigan. When all of this changed around 8 or 9 years ago, and substance use disorder for integrated health was added into mental health and everything was integrated, there was this pot of money that the state was using for SUD. And so this board controls 5 million of those expenditures in the county. And I guess I'll move their approval, Madam Chair.
All right, thank you. Any questions on the Health and Human Services report?
Support.
Thank you for support. The 2 reappointments, Mr. Fielder, Mr. Taylor, I don't know if they're on Zoom or not. If so, if you could just say hello. I don't know if we asked them to be here, so if they're not here, that's fine. But if they are here, I want to recognize them. And those are reappointments, okay? Any discussion on the Health and Human Service report? All right, please vote.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next item, please.
We're on report D from the Committee on Audit. There is 1 item listed.
Commissioner Basham?
Thank you, Madam Chair. This comes from a January 21st, 22 item. Basically, the corrective action plan for the Auditor General's assessment for findings. It's identified in Health, Human Service, and Veterans Services, also Juvenile and Youth Services, a performance audit report. And based on the Auditor General's assessment, management is in the process of addressing all 3 of these items, as well as they're working on the issues with the morgue. Thank you.
Thank you. It's been moved and support?
I'd move it at this point. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there support?
Support.
Moved and supported. Any discussion on the audit report? It's receive and file. Any discussion on the receive and file under the audit report? All right, hearing none, please vote.
Motion carries.
All right, thank you so much. Next item.
We're moving to report E from the Committee on Public Safety, Judiciary, and Homeland Security. There are 5 items listed on pages 7 and 8 of the agenda.
Commissioner Clark Coleman?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move that we receive and file items number 1, 2, and item number 8, and that we move to approve items 3 and 4.
That was the receive and file 1, 2, and 5.
Yeah, receive and file 1, 2, and 5. And move approval of items 3 and 4.
Been moved and supported.
Yes, and I would give a brief explanation.
Please.
Okay, item number 1 it's a receive and file report on the operations or activity of the Violent Crimes Task Force. And item number 2 is a receive and file the Sheriff Office report on overtime cost. Item number 3 is an action item. And it's $1 million to provide supplemental funding to the Wayne County Sexual Assault Kit Task Force. And it covers the cost of 3 prosecutor's office investigators, 1 paralegal, 1 administrative assistant, and 1 site coordinator. Item number 4 is action item, move approval of a contract with the Sheriff's Office with Avalon Heating Center. It was formerly the Wayne County Sexual Assault Forensic Examiners Advocacy Program. Now, this is for inmate access to outside confidential support services that allows the county to be in compliance with the Federal Prison Rape Elimination Act. Oh, and item 5 is a receive and file. And this was when we had a water main break at jail divisions 1 and 2, and they had to purchase 252 cases of bottled water, and it came to $1,323.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any discussion or questions on the items in the public safety report? Any questions? Discussion? Okay. Hearing none, please vote, please.
Carries.
Thank you. Next item.
Moving to report F from the Committee on Government Operations, there are 6 items listed on pages 9 and 10 of the agenda.
Thank you, Commissioner Dobb.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to move items 1 and 2 for receive and file and items 3 through 6 for approval.
Moved and supported.
And I'd like to go through the
Sure.
agenda. So item number 1 is a report from Corporation Counsel for our monthly settlement report. And there was only, I think there was only 1 item, and it was the total cost was $60,000. Item number 2 was a report from our Personnel Human Resources Department and for civil services positions, excluding elected official positions, and this is the HR report on a civil services position for the county. Item number 3 is a 2-year intergovernmental agreement between Wayne County and Wayne State University Leadership Department. And this is an executive training program for county employees. This program covers 9 training courses over 27 sessions with 810 seats across all courses. Wayne State University will design the program specifically for Wayne County employees, and the county will select the participants. Item number 4 is a 2-year legal services contract between Wayne County and Keller Toma PC. And this is for the arbitration matter with the POAM. Item number 5 is a retroactive amendment for legal services with Wayne County and Bowman PLC. Item number 6 is a retroactive agreement for legal services between Wayne County and Lex Foray, and I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing these law firms wrong, Lex Foray PLLC. This one was, this contract was executed by the CEO without commission approval due to a coding coding error within the commission's queue. That's it. Item number 6 was the last one.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Commissioner Basham?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll be a no on 5 and 6. Thank you.
Any Commissioner Marecki?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a couple questions. On number 3 with the Wayne State University Leadership, is that a new program? It sounds familiar. And can anybody in the county, any employee in the county use this, use this advantage to join this? To anyone, administration or?
Good morning, Commission. This is Donna Wilson from the PHR Director. And yes, the program is open for the executive leadership and management. There are other programs that we have for employees who don't qualify under those 2 programs.
I did not hear what she said. Can you just tell me what she said?
Ma'am, you're muffled. Can you repeat what you said, please? You were muffled.
Sure. This is Donna Wilson from.
You're muffled. I don't know if you're on a headset or.
No, it's my regular phone. I will try to, it's my computer.
Are you on a telephone? Okay. And,
Oh, I'm on a computer, but it is muffled.
okay, say it one more time slowly and I'll try to listen real hard.
Sure. The program is open to the executive leadership and other managers. We do have other training for employees through LinkedIn that we're bringing on board.
The executive management, and they have programs for other employees. And do you know how many people you anticipate going through the program?
Previous history, we had 200 executive leaders and managers attend.
300 or 200?
200.
200, okay. Oh, okay. Great. Okay.
Thank you. And
Thank
then
you.
I have another question
Sure.
on number 6. Commissioner Dobb indicated that this money was paid out without commission approval because of a code error. And I'm just wondering if someone can address that at the administration. Oh,
Turn the microphone on. It's right there at the base. Is the light on? Oh, no. Okay, hold on. Okay, there you go.
Sorry. The money was not paid out. It was a retro contract. And so the modification was retro, and that's the $25,000. The money has not been paid out, subject to commission approval.
okay.
But the
This was
services were.
because of a code.
Well, there was a couple issues with the modification and the necessity for it to be retro. We started the contract per Corporation Counsel's delegated authority and immediately submitted the modification. There were a couple of issues that held up the modification. Ultimately, there was a coding error between our office and that it bypassed commission.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Thanks for being here.
Sure.
I can hear you a little bit better on the
Yes.
phone. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Any other questions on the GovOps report? Okay, hearing none, please vote.
Motion carries, and have Commissioner Basham as a no on items 5 and 6.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Next item, please.
Here on Report G from the Committee on Senior Citizens and Veterans Affairs, there is one item listed.
Martha G. Scott.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This is a 3-year contract with a 2 one-year option to renew between the Charter County of Wayne and Sun Valley Foods with no changes in the dollar amount, exercising the final option to renew to continue to provide delivery of liquid nutrition products. And the remainder of that amount is $1,170,180.
Or, thank you. It's been moved and supported. Any discussion on this contract? Any discussion on the option to renew? Okay, hearing none, please vote.
Carries.
Thank you so much. Next item.
Upcoming committee meetings.
Everyone, please note the committee meetings, which will be scheduled for next week. If there are any changes, please let the clerk know. Next item.
Here on new business, there are 5 items listed. Item number 1 is a revision of Resolution 2021-776, modifying the language to include the City of Detroit in the rental assistance program funds received by the Charter County of Wayne pursuant to the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021.
Thank you so much. Okay, who's here to speak on this item?
Good morning again, Luz Meza with Economic Development.
Go ahead, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We are asking to modify the language of this resolution to include the City of Detroit based on a new guidance from the Department of Treasury, who have advised us that we are able to include residents in the City of Detroit so long as we are checking for duplicates with the City of Detroit's program. Based on what we've done with the program so far, we've seen a high number of denied applicants that are actually residents of the City of Detroit. And we are hoping, based on the availability of funds and our continued availability of funds, to include these residents.
Well, that's good news because oftentimes we don't include the City of Detroit. So I'm glad that we were able to, the Treasury allows us to do that for the residents in Detroit. Which agency will we be using for this?
We are continuing to run this program internally with the support of our consultants with Guidehouse.
Is there any thought of maybe utilizing Wayne Metro or any of the other agencies to help with this? Or are you comfortable that we can do it internally?
We have been doing pretty well managing internally. To date, we have issued over $1.7 million in assistance to residents across Outer Wayne County. We are working closely with Wayne Metro as they are administering the state program. And we have a number of partners in the nonprofit sector who are also supporting us with outreach and intake.
Thank you. And I would request that in about 60 days time, 60 to 90 days time, if you can get us a report on how many people we've served in Detroit and then out county, that'd be helpful, and where our run is for numbers, because if $28 million is a lot of money, which is good to help with people, but I want to make sure that we're getting that money out as fast as we can, because isn't there a deadline to have this spent?
We have a spending deadline coming up at the end of this month, which we're hopeful that, especially with the expansion into Detroit, we are on track to meet. And we will have other deadlines coming up towards the end of the year.
Thank you. Any lots of questions. Okay, start over here, then over here. Basham and then Mareki.
Okay, I have 2 questions. Can this item can they be audited, number 1? And number 2, can these funds be used for nonprofits? That's my 2 questions.
Did you hear the questions?
Excuse me?
Did you hear the question?
Yes.
Okay.
Or if you're asking if the program can be audited, the answer is yes, in terms of supporting nonprofits. Not as a form of rental assistance. This program is only for residents within an income threshold of, I believe, under 80% of the AMI, and who are in rental situations, so not homeowners. We also include utility assistance and relocation assistance, as well as internet stipends.
Didn't answer my question about auditing.
Can the program be audited?
Yes.
I believe the answer is yes. Thank you. Commissioner Mareki?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm just wondering, for my own information, do we fill in the gaps in Detroit? Does the Detroit money first go to Detroit citizens and then the county money fill in if there's not enough? How does that work?
I think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think the citizens have an option to go with the city program or the county program.
Okay, if she said that, I'm just having a hard time hearing, sorry.
No, you're fine. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So they have an option to go to either one. Okay, thank you.
Commissioner Kinlock?
Okay. Yes, it's great to hear that this is one program that will also allow for citizens in Detroit to apply for. Will the information be updated to indicate that, and will material where we, the Detroit commissioners, can now spread that information throughout our communities?
Yes, we will send updated marketing materials upon approval.
Thank you.
Mayor Clark Coleman?
Thank you, Madam Chair. That's exactly what I was going to ask. If they can provide a flyer so that we can post it, so that the people know about it. I too have your concern about the word getting out that this program is available, and especially to Detroit, because we're normally not included in this type of program. So I don't want to have any of that money going back when there are people that need it. So if we can help get that word out through our Facebook or newsletters or what have you, it would be good to have a flyer available as soon as possible.
Absolutely. I'm hopeful that you all can get something. I'm confident it'll be approved today. If we can have something by end of day today so that we can get it out as soon as possible, that would be very helpful, because I suspect all you have to do is just tweak and put, including Detroit, and then we can send it out.
Yes, and put it in bold letters.
In bold letters. Thank you, Commissioner. Yes. Commissioner Anderson?
Yeah, Madam Chair, I just would ask, just piggybacking on what you just said, that to make sure that it's social media friendly, that it's not a PDF. If it's a PDF, that can't be
Right.
posted on Facebook. Thank you.
Thank you. Luz, do you think, I'm saying your name correctly? Luz or Luz? Luz. Will that be available by the end of today?
We will make sure we have something ready for you all by the end of the day.
Okay, thank you. Commissioner Vice Chair Baydun?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Again, I am glad to see that this program is expanded and is including the city and the residents of the city of Detroit. This is good news for a lot of these tenants who are behind. The question, maybe I may have missed it. Do they cover up to 1 year, Luz, in terms of back utilities and back rent?
The program covers up to 15 months and can include back rent, so rental arrears, or future, up to 3 months of future rent.
Okay, thank you.
Additional questions, discussion on this item? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Support.
Moved and supported for item number 1. Any further discussion on item number 1 under new business? Hearing none, please vote.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Let's see here. Okay, item number 2, please.
Item number 2 is requesting commission approval of the creation of 1 additional judgeship for the Third Circuit Court of Michigan in Wayne County effective January 1, 2023, as authorized by Public Act 8 of 2022 to be filled by election.
Move approval.
All right.
Support.
Been moved and supported. Commission Counsel, you want to give a explanation of this? We did provide a resolution a couple of meetings back. It did pass the state legislature. What we're doing now, I'm probably still saying everything you're going to say, but what we're doing now is we vote on this today and it passes. It will allow to go into effect so that people can file to run for this position at Third Circuit Court. Counsel, did I?
That is correct.
Anything you want to add to it? Okay. All right. As it was moved and supported, discussion. Commissioner Kinlock. turn your mic back on, please. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I just want to say that definitely appreciative to you and Felicia and the staff for bringing this forward. We all have been hearing about the issues and the backlog that's going on in the circuit court. And I really appreciate you recognizing the urgency of it and bringing it directly to full board to be acted on today so that we can hopefully begin to address some of those systemic issues at the courts. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for that. And just as FYI, as we discussed earlier, because it's going to be a new extra judge, if you will, there will be additional funding required in the budget season for that position and the staff that position. So there's something to consider once we go through Ways and Means and the budget process this summer. Any additional question, discussion on this item? Commissioner Clark-Coleman?
Yeah, one additional question on this same item. So this is going to be created in time for this election.
Correct.
For this year.
Mhm.
Okay, is that something we can put out now? Let the people know?
Council?
Through the chair, once this is approved, we will send this resolution to the clerk's office. They would get it up to the state and to the Secretary of State, and then they will post when it's people are able to start applying to fill the position for the election.
But yes, but is that something you have to?
So they have to go through the.
Can't talk about it now?
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
Oh, yes.
definitely talk about
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
we can. That's just the process for someone to actually file. It has to go to the clerk and then to the state and then, but we can certainly tell people after
But
today.
this actually approves it.
Yes,
So it will be done.
yes.
Okay, then we can
Start
talk about
talking
it in
about
our
it.
community.
Absolutely. But they can't file until the clerk,
Yeah,
says,
that's-
give the approval. But yes,
I
after
understand that.
12 o'clock today, yes, we can talk about it.
But that's something that our people in our community would certainly like to know.
Yes. Yep. So, yep.
So
that's-
we'll expect Jim to maybe send us something that we can.
The summaries that we can share with our constituents.
Yes, exactly.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Maraki?
Madam Chair, so just to get this straight, this will go to the county clerk after we approve it, and then it goes up to the state and they will post the position?
And I believe the court is on the line, but that is my understanding. Yes, the statute says that the county clerk must send it over to the state. Once it's sent to the state, on which they have received inquiries already. So we've heard from the state or the county level. So once we get this up to them, they will then do what they need to do to start allowing people to file for this particular position.
Because they actually file through the state for judgeships, right? I think.
I think they still file whichever county they're running in.
Right, there's something they do on the state level. Again, we've heard from the state. I don't want to get into the details of it and tell you anything wrong. We know we have to send it to the state so that they can officially approve or do what they need to do for this to actually make it to the ballot. So this will allow that opportunity once you approve this.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Kinlock?
Everybody's waiting on this.
Yes. Is there anyone from the courts on the line that would like to add any final comments?
This is Richard
Anyone
Lynch.
from
I
the Third
serve as,
Circuit Court?
this is Richard Lynch. I serve as General Counsel for Third Circuit Court. I think you've touched upon all the highlights of this. The critical thing is that by the prompt action of the commission today, Ms. Chair Bell, the matter will be able to be added to the docket or to the election rolls in the timely fashion to meet the requirements of MCL 600.550 parent 1. So then people will be able to file their applications to run for this spot and the election season will begin.
Thank you so much. Okay. Any further discussion on this item? Okay, hearing none, please vote.
Motion carries.
Next item, please.
Remaining items are closed session items, so I'll read all three to the record.
Yep, and you were kind of faint there. So the next three are 3, 4, and 5 are closed sessions items. So we're going to ask, once they're read into the record, we're going to request that everyone leave the chambers for these 3 closed session items. Go ahead, Madam Clerk.
Item number 3 is requesting commission approval of a settlement in the matter of
Support. Support.
Supported by Vice Chair Pro Tem Badu.
We're voting electronically, so I would like to be a no on 5.
Noted.
Okay. Any discussion on those?
Motion carries, and I have Commissioners Varga, Basham, and Mareki as a no on item number 5. We are on testimonial resolutions and certificates of appreciation. There are 9 items listed.
I will add to that.
Happy birthday.
And he is a 30-year retiree of Wayne County.
Worked with Jim Bell for years. Uh-oh.
So moved.
Moved and supported, please vote.
Motion carries.
Next item, please.
We are on page 14, memoriams. There is 1 name listed.
There's 1 name listed. Are there any names to be added to memorials? Commissioner Vice Chair Pro Tem Badu.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to add the name of Haji Wanda Turfi Faiz, and I'd like to make some remarks. Mrs. Faiz lived in Dearborn Heights in Commissioner Kanizik's district, and I want to thank all the commissioners for being on the memoriam resolution. I would like to extend my sincerest condolences to the Turfi and Fayez family and to Commissioner El Haddis on the passing of his cousin and a great community leader. Haji Wanda Fayez was a loving, passionate, and hardworking individual who put everyone on her community before herself. She is known by many as a chef that brings people together, and bringing people together is what she really, truly loved. Haji Wanda was the chair of the Women's Club at the Islamic Center of America, where she led fundraising efforts which brought over 250,000 annually. She was instrumental in building the Islamic Center of America on Ford Road in Dearborn. She is one of the pillars of that mosque. She was one of the most honest and kind-hearted women that I have come to know. She leaves behind 3 children and 6 beautiful grandchildren. She will truly be missed by all those who have met her. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, thank you. Prayers go out, Commissioner Hayes. Mr. Mareki.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would like to add the name of Gabriel Jolly. The Livonia City Council president. I had a baby the other day that only lived a couple hours, so I'd like to put his name in there.
Thank you, Commissioner. Send them our condolences as well. Any other names to be added? All right, if I could please stand for a moment of silence. Thank you. Next item. Okay, next
Public-
item, please.
Public comments.
Okay, I'll take any public comments that are on Zoom or on the telephone first, and then we'll read into the record the ones that we've received by email. We have 1 minute for public comments today. Anyone on Zoom? There's one hand. Okay. You're muted?
I'm unmuted now.
Yep, you're fine. Go ahead. Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. I wanted to bring forward a request made in response to your last meeting. At the end of the last meeting, Commissioner Melissa Dobbs tweeted, and I quote, "People should read the Wayne Charter before mouthing off at meetings." At her commissioner chat, I respectfully asked what she believes citizens should know prior to giving public comment, so we are educated on that. And I also expressed frustration that we are only allowed 1 minute to speak. And given that time limit, citizens are more concerned with expressing their issues or their concerns to their representatives and not necessarily grammar or legal content. Commissioner Dobbs stated is the commission chair who dictates public comment time and would bring our concern to you. I now personally and respectfully ask you to reinstitute that 3-minute time limit so we can be clear and more effective. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you for joining. Any additional comments on Zoom? Or on the telephone? Madam Clerk, read into the record the ones that you received by email.
Comment is from Leah Riley. Dear Wayne County Board of Commissioners, as a doctor and a healthcare worker, it is very concerning to me that Wayne County is spending so much money continuing to promote the COVID-19 shot without providing proper informed consent to Wayne County residents. The CDC's own vaccine adverse event reporting system has on record as of February 11, 2022, over 23,000 reported deaths, over 43,000 people permanently disabled, and over 35,500 reported cases of myocarditis in people who received the COVID-19 shot. Again, these are records of people dying, being permanently disabled, and developing heart disease from this experimental genetic therapy medication that you are promoting. From a moral and ethical standpoint, the promotion that this shot is absolutely deplorable. As a legislative body in our county, I've been very disappointed with your refusal to advocate for our medical freedom of choice and civil liberties, and I want to know, how is your behavior going to change to convince your constituents? That was Dr. Leah Riley. My next comment is from Matthew Taylor. Good morning, Wayne County Board of Commissioners. I am looking at the number of cases of harm that have been reported to the vaccine adverse event recording system for COVID-19 vaccine. It's a lot. Tens of thousands of cases of permanent disabilities being developed, along with pericarditis and myocarditis being reported associated with this shot. Then I see all these billboards with this vaccine is safe and effective, or something to that effect. Usually with a picture of an actor posing as a doctor and no quote source given. Now I am hearing Wayne County is doing something similar to this. What is going on? Isn't there any transparency going to be shown? Instead of transparency, will you just use a blanket statement pushing people to get this shot? Why is Wayne County doing this too? Next comment is from Nicole George. Good morning, commissioners. I am very concerned that Wayne County plans on spending over $1 million to promote an experimental gene modification injection. This gene modification injection has harmed and killed many people. Just check the latest VAERS database. After seeing the harmful side effects and deaths due to the COVID vaccine, not sure how Wayne County will promote such a vaccine and claim it's safe and effective. How can a vaccine be claimed effective when it doesn't stop the person from contracting the virus or from transmitting it, and it's killed 25,000 that we know of, and only 1% of vaccine deaths are reported? Isn't that the definition of a vaccine? Did you know the UK Health Security Agency just released data showing the fully vaccinated account for 9 out of 10 deaths from COVID-19 and 4 out of 5 deaths among triple vaccinated? Why are none of you listening? Why doesn't the mainstream media or radio talk about this? This should outrage you. That was Nicole George. The next comment is from Michelle Reese. Honorable Board, it's a relief to see more smiles and children's faces uncovered. Over the past months, when the health department mandated masks, you did not advocate for your constituents. When Wayne County needed strong leadership to advocate for our medical freedom, it wasn't you. When we were counted on our elected commissioners to uphold what God himself has ordained, that every individual's self-governing sovereignty be upheld and guarded, even in the darkest hours and greatest of trials, you did not rise up to that call. Furthermore, it's obvious to me and many others that the coordinated end of the mask mandates was not for our benefit, but for your political expediency. Since I cannot participate in that, at this upcoming election, I cannot give you my vote. That was Michelle Reese. Next comment is from Anthony Plesia. Dear Commissioners, on Sunday night, 60 Minutes aired an episode about the vulnerability of the electrical grid. They touched on its risk from cyber attacks and physical sabotage. It's also susceptible to a phenomenon called electromagnetic pulse, which is caused by the detonation of a nuclear weapon in the upper atmosphere. What steps will you take to protect the portion of the grid in the county from these dangers? I just sent an email to the central office of the county's Department of Emergency Management and Homeland Security. It contains more details about the threat and the components of the grid that need to be protected. Anthony Plesia. Next comment is from Darcy Reese. Good morning, Board of Commissioners. When the mask mandates for schools were finally lifted 2 weeks ago, I was relieved. Our children now have the chance to begin recovering from the 2 years of challenges they have faced. However, it is perfectly clear that this decision was not made because the board heard its constituents or suddenly decided to listen to the real science about the negative impacts of masks on children. This was a politically expedient choice. The narrative changed nationally, and this board responded to that change, not to the voice of their people. I was not fooled into thinking you suddenly care about me or my position on the issue. As we look to the future, I ask the board what you will do to make sure this kind of medical oppression never happens again in Wayne County. What kind of resolution will you pass to protect medical freedom in our schools? What will you do to end mask mandates for the remaining group of people whose freedoms are being ignored? I also wish to ask why you are continuing to dispel propaganda about the safety of the COVID-19 vaccine. That was from Darcy Reese. That was the last comment.
Thank you. Is there anyone in the chambers who would like to give public comments? Anyone in the chambers would like to give public comments, please come to the podium. Okay, hearing none, seeing none. Thank you. Next item, please.
Reconsiderations.
There are none.
Remarks by members.
Remarks by members. Commissioner Knizik. Turn your microphone on. I can turn it on. There you go. Yep. Yep.
I want to thank Commissioner Baydoun, who has instructed his staff to dress like me and wear patterned shirts and puffy vests. I think it's very sweet. And thank you, Commissioner, and thank you, Adam.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Clark Coleman?
It wasn't me.
Oh, your light's on, that's why.
Oh.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, Commissioner Anderson?
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to mention that I checked with someone and hopefully we'll hear something back from DPS, our department, but MDOT said they have started changing all of those caps that are dangerous on the end of guardrails and already done it, I believe, and not using those any longer. So that was all. I was just trying to avoid us being sued for that.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Marecki?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just would like to thank DPS for all the work and the contract groups we have filling these potholes. My area is much better and it was like really torn up. So I just want to thank all the hard workers over there.
Commissioner Basham?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was just reading a couple of posts on Facebook about potholes in my district, and one person who I'll contact after this meeting said that he called about a pothole and he was very specific about it. And they put him on hold and then they hung up on him. And so if we're having those kinds of problems, it elevates the problems initially that we're having. So I would hope that without getting into specifics that that our services work relative when people call about potholes, that they're not kicked off the phone. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Marecki?
Yeah, and I'm sure those happen, but I have to put a big plug in for the call center because that's all my constituents have been doing. And I've gotten a lot of compliments on that call center. So there might have been, a couple hiccups here and there, but and I've called a few times. It's really been working quite well. I'm sure, like everything else, there's little problems here and there. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Dobb?
Thank you, Madam Chair. During our meeting today, I think many of us were having difficulty hearing, and I don't know what the status is on the technology for our hybrid meetings, but we don't have visual of anyone who's attending on Zoom. So I was just wondering if we could keep working on what we're doing with the hybrid model. I am a huge proponent of Zoom remote work and keeping in mind the safety and that we are still in a pandemic and people still are getting sick from COVID-19. But I see that Tim is approaching the mic and will give us an update.
Sam, if you could update,
Tim Johnson,
please.
Director of Administration. We're living on, I guess, borrowed time with our current technology. And we do have new equipment being ordered, but that's not going to get here till August, almost a year after we put in the request, just because of the global supply chain matter. So I don't know what happened to the monitors that we had last time, but I will check with DOT and see what we can rectify for the next meeting so that you can actually see the people on Zoom. So that's something we'll try and get resolved by the next meeting.
Okay. And I don't know if we need to look at maybe asking people who are participating in our meeting to actually come here in person and then keep the Zoom option available for the public or people who are just watching and not going to actually be speaking at the meeting. But it is very difficult for us to hear. And I know I'm a visual person. So when I'm not seeing and I'm just hearing a voice, a muffled voice coming from up above, it's difficult to conduct these meetings. So
Thank you. That's a
That's all
great
I had.
concern because we had the TV monitors here. That's because we didn't have the screens, but I have a computer here so I can see, but we do need to bring the screens back so that all of you all can see who's on Zoom as well. And then as far as the CEO staff, they will be slowly but surely filtering back into the chambers, as our numbers hopefully continue to decline. So thank you for that. Commissioner Basham and then Commissioner Scott.
Thank you, Madam Chair. To that point, if you look at what the Fed is doing, look what the state is doing. And I think the county is behind on all that. and quite frankly, I've had my 3 shots, plus I've had my flu shot. I couldn't imagine somebody here not getting their shots. I don't care which company. At some point, we need to move on. And actually, I feel very comfortable sitting with somebody, except the commissioner to my right, without one of these plastic things. I mean, honestly, I don't think it really does that much help, seriously. And I don't think once you've had your shots, if you can go to a restaurant and sit down and order your food and the waitress comes over and give you food, why do we sit here or walk around in the county building with the mask on if we've had our shots? I just think at some point we need to look at this like the feds and the states doing and start moving forward together.
Thank you. And it is an evolving process as we get more data and as CDC recommendations come out. Every day we'll have a different result, but points well taken. Over here, Commissioner Scott.
Thank you. I'm glad you finally saw my hand.
Yes, ma'am. I know I gotta get my glasses for the
I
side.
couldn't hear today. Now nobody can see my hand.
Oh, sorry, Commissioner. I'm gonna move your seat so I can see you.
But,
Go ahead.
Anyway, I just wanted to thank the county exec for honoring me during Black History Month by putting me on Facebook, my long career in the political arena. So I just want to say thanks to him. Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. You have a very stellar career that is absolutely worth noting. So congratulations. Commissioner Clark Coleman.
I'm happy to hear it, that it just wasn't us seniors who couldn't hear. For a while there, I was thinking that Martha and I, being the seniors around here, couldn't hear, but when I heard Melissa Dobbs was one of the juniors.
Right. And she couldn't hear either.
She couldn't hear either.
Yes.
I feel a whole lot better.
Not just you, Commissioner, absolutely. And I do, apologize because it's been very challenging with COVID and trying to make sure we're here and following the laws and trying to make it as transparent as possible. But every day we strive to do better, and I hope that we will continue to do better. When I say we, I mean trying to get the meetings to the point where everyone can hear, everyone can see, and it's more inclusive. So thank you for those comments. They're all duly noted, and we'll continue to strive to do better. Let's see, did I have any Vice Chair Pro Tem Baidoon?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, I want to come back to the topic that's been on the minds of so many people recently, which is potholes. I do want to thank the DPS Director, Beverly Watts. Thank you, Andy, and the Evans administration for moving up the timeline on Miller Road, which was highlighted on Channel 7 last night, Miller Road, which looks like a street in any war zone, torn country, so to speak. But I have a quick question. I don't know if Andy can answer or if Beverly is on the line with us. With the governor approving more funding now, emergency funding to fill the potholes on on MDOT roads and state trunk lines. Is the county prepared? Do we have those 3 companies, Andy, that were being discussed? Did they start working already for the county to fill the extra potholes? With this increased funding, do we have the manpower to be able to handle that?
Good afternoon, everybody. Andrew Kandrivas from the Wayne County Executive's Office. I was going to do a Leland and start hitting the mic, but no, I won't do that. Thank you very much, Commissioner. And the 3 companies definitely started. They started last week. I'm sorry, I think they started at the beginning of last week or even before that. I can't recall the exact, but it was when I came before you last full board, I referenced we're doing things now, and I think it was in place by that next Monday or Tuesday. So they have definitely been out there supplementing our crews. As to the state money, it has not been made clear to me how the state spending money on trunk lines right now is going to impact what we're able to do. We handle trunk lines as well at the request of the state on the patching. So that's not clear. I can try to figure that out. A lot of times press releases come out, and the details don't always come out. And if you don't see the details, they'll be out soon enough, and I can get those and share them with everybody as we know a little bit more about what more money coming from the state for those trunk lines is going to mean for our drivers.
Thank you, Andy. Any additional comments? Let me just also, Commissioner Scott. Andy, come, Andy.
Well, don't put it that way, Commissioner, please. I did not personally do the potholes.
Yes, you did.
I probably did more to contribute to them by driving over them than I did to filling them, but I appreciate the sentiment. Thank you. Right. And Madam Chair, if for just a moment.
You may have to get out there, Andy.
Yeah, I do just want to say, there are some that are just clearly a catastrophe waiting to happen. Always have everything called in the 888 road crew. Feel free to flag something for me for the worst ones. We all get things that we get blown up about a lot in our offices and our private lives. So don't send every pothole in your district to me, but the ones that where the police need to go out there and put a cone out or something like that, please feel free to reach out to me on those, and we'll make sure that we keep that communication open with the road crews that are out there. And I forgot the second thing I was going to mention, but yeah, they definitely were. Thank you. And I'm sorry, the last thing was Sam Baydoun, as Commissioner Baydoun brought up with Miller Road, our departments, everything is always tentative with schedules, and it might get me in trouble or the department in trouble sometimes when we want a definitive, when's the start date? When's the end date, right? You guys want to know when to tell drivers. And we're kind of like, well, the start date will be when you see crews out there and you can no longer drive on that road or the detours posted. But our engineers and our vendors, we're always working together to try to accelerate things, try to compress the construction times for any projects. Something like Miller Road, we pushed it up because we could push it up, and our engineers are always looking to see which of these projects are prioritized and which are able to start earlier. So, we plan on putting out some information very soon about tentative projects. It's tentative. We always say tentative. That doesn't mean you might lose it this year. It's going to go to next year. It means we don't know exactly when it might start. There's always juggling that goes on depending on the severity of the roads.
Thank you, Andy. Commissioner Anderson?
Thank you. I just wanted to commend the department too for what they've been doing with the potholes. I've just on the way in this morning called in one that I travel all the time. It's not all of it in my district, but I called that in this morning as I was on the road. I have it programmed on my phone. I can call through my car and just do it that way. And it's easier to do it when it's fresh in your mind, and that extra help that we're getting, I think, is making a difference. And I know Commissioner Maricki got the benefit of one of them on a big project. I mean, they were really throwing a lot of patch material down on the road, and it was. And then yesterday, I had to drop off some friends at our family members to the airport, and the airport road, or Merriman Road, from E-course all the way down past 94 was in terrible shape. And you can just go there today and even see all the patch material that was put down, and that was a county crew. And it's just, trying to explain to people that we go through this every year. But this is probably the worst year I can ever remember. It's just something that we in Michigan, unfortunately, have sort of gotten used to, but it's something that we appreciate what the department's doing about bringing that extra help in to try to get caught up. Thank you.
Thank you. And before, while this is fresh on my mind, and it's still related to roads, years back, there was talk about paving our roads with tire material, and that had worked in some other states across the country. And I'm going back 10, 15 years now. That conversation, I don't know where it landed. I know expensive initially, but it's the longevity of the roads is something that we would save down the road, so down the line. So I think we should revisit what that looks like with the materials that we use, because I find it hard to believe that Ohio, same weather, Illinois, Wisconsin, we have the same weather, and I know their roads are not like ours, and I know it stems from the materials that we use to pave our roads. So I think that we need to revisit that conversation of different materials that we use for longevity and the reduction of potholes. So while that was on my mind, I wanted to say that. Thank you, sir. And one last thing, I think I've heard from everyone. One last thing is, just want to also thank our staff. We have wonderful staff that really prepare themselves to make sure that we have our agendas, that make sure that all committees have all the documents that they need. They've been working, just continuously, even through the pandemic. So, and you all don't know what nights and weekends they work to make sure we have our agendas. So thank the staff. Let's give a round of applause for all the work that they continue to do to help us and assist us and frankly, make us look good. So we want to thank them for the work that they do every day for us. Commissioner Kinlock, I saw your hand for a moment. Okay. All right. With that, is there a motion to adjourn? All right. Thank you so much. Meeting adjourned. Thank you all.